everybody's starting to come in now.
Wow.
Oh, I can see some familiar names. Good morning, everyone. Just give it a couple of minutes to let everybody get in. This was a very highly popular webinar, so I'm excited to see what Kirsty's going to share with us this morning. Oh wow, and the numbers keep going up. Well, just by means of good morning, Hazim. By all means, feel free to greet each other in the chat for those of you that know each other, or even if you want to introduce yourself and tell each other what you do. I'm delighted to be joined by Kirsty this morning. So I met Kirsty. Oh, thank you, Vicky. I am feeling better. Thank you. I met Kirsty a good few weeks ago, actually. She attended our Women in Business Network and Support. And I was intrigued by what she did. I was very impressed by how she came across as an individual anyway. So I figured there must be something there in terms of her professional career. But once I learned a little bit more about it, I thought, wow, that's something that eScalate clients could really benefit from, because camera video has become such a large part of what we do. Like I said in the Eventbrite listing, our social media channels love video, and yet there are some of us that absolutely hate being in front of the camera. So I figured that having some really top tips from Kirsty this morning could just help us feel a little bit more comfortable and help us make our presentations in front of the camera that little bit more polished. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing of introducing Kirsty, because I'm sure she's going to tell us a little bit about herself. But what I would say is that the last slide, she has her contact details. Reach out, join her on LinkedIn, and, you know, keep in touch with her, because she's got a lot of stuff to share. So at this point, Kirsty, I'll pass over to you.
No problem. Good morning. I'm Kirsty Ven, and I set up Opening Doors Consultancy about 2 years ago, but I've been coaching on camera and camera confidence on camera for about 15 years, maybe even longer. And I will come on to who I am and why I set up. But the first thing I want to say is take a breath, because that's what a theme that you will see all the way through the presentation is take a breath. And we will do a little exercise on that as well. If you can put and hold your questions onto a piece of paper until the end, I will do my best to get to them. If I don't cover them off, then please feel free to contact me straight away, either by text or via well, various means, Instagram, whatever mean you want on social media. And that way I can hopefully help you. Well, actually, not hopefully, I can help you, because we're going to talk about positive mindset and positive empowering thought processes that get you confident on camera. So if you're sitting there right now, the first thing I want you to do is think about your Be Camera Confident factor. If you were to say right now, between 1 and 10, how confident you are on camera, you don't have to put this in the chat, just write it on a piece of paper right next to you. And to give you an idea, actors, presenters, everyone hates going on camera. And there's a really important thing here, because we think it's just us, and it's not. When I was acting, the first thing I would do is look at how I was on camera rather than how I fitted into the plot scenario. So just write that number down, and then I would explain it to you. And whilst you're thinking about your confidence, I want you to think about what public speaking on camera is. Because most of my clients come to me and they go, I've got to do a public speaking address, or I've got to do a webinar, or and that is the crux of how they all start. And the fact is, every time you go on camera, you are public speaking in camera, which is why I came up with the tagline, public speaking on camera. But why is it different? And that is a really key thing, because there is a difference between public speaking on camera and public speaking to an audience. And the first thing we have to look at is the size of the shot. We are limited and we are determined by that size. What we do in the screen is powerful. Less is more. The more we do, the more it distracts. The more we add in, the more it distracts. The more we strip away, the more powerful we are. A simple thing is how we sit. If we sit directly at camera, we're taking over the whole screen. If we sit back, we are allowing the audience in and we are creating space. If we sit straight on, we are blocking the screen. If we sit back and on an angle, we are opening ourselves up. So really simple body movements that make a difference. And a story really matters. A story is everything. And I will come on to what a story is. We will cover off what positive, powerful words are and why they are super important. What is camera ready? Everyone's got a different concept of what camera ready is. And I'm going to tell you now, it's not about the way you look or the way you sound. Principles for success, common mistakes and tech choices, because one of the things, because I worked in IT, I do is I cover off the tech as well. So who am I? What gives me the right to sit here today? Well, firstly, I overcame a speech defect. At 4.5 years old, I had an operation. I started speech therapy. I hated it. I ended up at drama classes, and through the drama classes, I learned to communicate. And those key stages in my real formative years are the reason that as an introvert, I can be an extrovert and walk into any room, because I've got tools and a massive toolbox that I can tap into, and I can work through that fear. I can breathe in that fear and turn it into excitement. And then I can stand up, get myself rooted, which we won't be able to cover today, but I will give you some ideas, and walk into that room with a powerful stride. And power walking is so key, particularly when you're going to walk onto a stage. I was an actress, and we're going to talk about the importance of breath and the iambic pentameter a bit later on, and why Shakespeare got it right. I worked in theatre and in tours, and I've also been in BAFTA award-winning TV shows. But like many people, and I don't usually use the word but because it negates everything that I've said before, but in this case I will, I decided at 37 I wanted to re-change my life, rejig it, and I went back to university and used my degree and went into business. And that is how Opening Doors Consultancy was born, because I could bring in the acting skills and the training and my degree and link it to the business skills of the 10-year that I had in business. So this and what I do is designed for you, the business owner, and not the TED talker of tomorrow. So that's me. So what is public speaking on camera? Well, it's this. It's everything that you do on camera. It's your social media videos. It's your corporate video. It is an online interview. And yes, I do one every single Friday with the Wise Why. And if you are going to go live in an online interview, you must set your boundaries. You must put in line what you want to not say, what you do not want to share. And there is a connection with the storyline that we can do, which will help you be so solid in your storyline that you never share what you don't want to share. Now, at this point, you're probably feeling a bit overwhelmed, and that's okay. I don't want you to take away everything that I'm going to show you today. What I want you to do is feel comfortable, confident, and maybe take 1, 2, or 3 things and start implementing very small changes, because going on camera doesn't just happen. The more you do it, the better you get. The more you do it, the more confident you become. The more you do it, the more you will play around and you will have fun. And just to let you know, a year ago, as a business owner, I didn't go on camera. I taught camera technique. I taught people to do this. I, just like you, had to embrace it and go on camera. And now I have a YouTube channel which is full of hints and tips designed to help you get comfortable and confident. And it's absolutely free, because I want to give back as much as I get. So please feel free to dive into that repository. And if there's something you want to explore, send me a DM and I will look at how I can bring that to the foreground. So that is just some of the ways that public speaking on camera, like today in a webinar. So a point of difference, as I've already said, you are limited by the size of your shot. And something that a lot of people do is this to make a point. Can you see how I am breaking the fourth wall, and I'm being incredibly rude because I'm pointing at you? And if we were to do this in the street, we wouldn't, we'd walk away, we'd be offended. You need to be succinct and on point. You cannot waffle. You must, when it comes to going on camera, you must link through to the key messages that you are trying to get across, or you want to get across through your website and your socials. It must all link back. The 3-second rule. Loads of people will introduce themselves and go, good morning, I'm Kirsty Ven and I'm here to talk, and they've already scrolled past on a social media video. It is straight in, it is straight to the point, it is no waffle. Really, really succinct. Movement adds and movement distracts. Now, if you're going to do a social media or video of all dancing and singing and lots of things, great, it's perfect for social media. If you're trying to do a webinar which has got a very serious undertone, the last thing you want to be doing is moving all over the place. And the more you move, the more it can distract. Sometimes it's important, saying that, don't stop moving. Sounds really crazy, doesn't it? But if you don't move and you do this, you actually become rigid and you become unwatchable. And the other thing that people do is they look directly down the lens and they don't look away. If you don't look away, you're not showing thought. You're not showing that you are considering and listening. And something that we all know about is active listening. And active listening is so important when it comes to going on camera. Usually when we present to an audience, we have feedback. We have people who are moving or responding and nodding their heads. We don't get that luxury on camera, and that's really hard. So in your own way, you've got to consider hearing that and feeling it in the space you're in. And you must put somebody that you love behind the camera lens. So you're talking through the lens and not talking at the lens, because there's a difference between here and there. So you must use your voice. Everybody says, I hate my voice, but actually there are things you can do to get your voice into your natural voice, your camera voice, and that will help you stop listening. And a singer never listens to the note they sing, so stop listening to your voice. Again, I've talked about telling a story. You must use positive, empowering words and get rid of the unnecessary words, the buts, the just, the infills that you do not need. As I've already said, your websites and your socials must reflect the key messages in your video. Otherwise, that £25,000 that you're going to spend on that corporate video and that year-long marketing campaign, you may as well just take a light to it, because there must be a link between your key messages that you're putting on video, your website, and what you do. You must prepare and practice, and this is really important. This morning, I've had to turn all my Wi-Fi off because usually I am hardwired. I'm always hardwired, but my computer has decided this morning that hardwiring would not be work. Yeah, it was not a good idea. You must look at your sound and your audios and your visuals, and I'll come on to that. And you always do a check, and I'll talk about tech later on. So that's just some points of differences. So if every single person could just hold their wrist like this, okay? Can you feel your heartbeat? As you're feeling your heartbeat, I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose, using your belly breath, and let that out. And I want you to repeat it 3 times. So in through the nose, listen and feel your heartbeat, and let it out. And again, in through the nose, and then let it out. The first sounds we hear when we are growing in our mother's womb is breath and heartbeat. Breath and heartbeat. And if you think about the iambic pentameter, it is reflective of the heartbeat. That is the rhythm you speak in when it comes to speaking on camera. You all have your own unique rhythm. You all have your own unique breath, and that is key to getting your message across on camera. There is more to it, of course there is, but just start thinking about your breath and your heartbeat and how that rhythm, because we all love music, we all love rhythm, that rhythm underlines everything that you do. And what's really key on camera, if you want to make a point, you break the rhythm. In public speaking and in an audience, you would pause, you would look around, you would engage with the audience. You can't do that on camera, so you break the rhythm. So just a bit on the rhythmic voice. Storytelling. So why a story? Again, it goes back to that childhood thing. We learn to read by stories. We hear stories from the very, very first time our parents start putting us to bed. More importantly, when we go to the pub or a coffee, or we go for lunch with a friend, we are telling stories. We are sharing the stories. And what makes a story? Well, if it's a business thing, it's how the features of the product solve the pain. And if it's a personal story, it's how you've overcome, what you've achieved, what you have struggled, and how that has influenced or changed you. And the reason a story resonates, really key, is because it's familiar. Really, really familiar. So you must use stories. We always talk about storytelling, and there's lots of, again, story, your life. Your life is your story. Now, with stories, you can go back to your childhood. I've already told you this morning, I was born mute. I've already told you I was an actress. I've already told you that I worked in business, that at 37, I got a degree. That is part of my story. And a good exercise to go away and do could be as simple as just your own branded pen, your own pen, why you got that created. That's just an exercise to go and think about how you can start telling a story, or why you prefer coffee over tea. So stories are very key. So what makes up a story? Well, you do. It's your childhood. It's the successes and failures. It's what's happened in your teenage years. It's your first marriage, your second marriage, what your child has eaten or not eaten, why your child prefers chocolate wraps over, I don't know, banana and peanut butter sandwiches, or why your daughter doesn't like eating lettuce. So it can be anything, and that is what makes up a story, your life. And there is more you can do with a product and a feature, and I do have other things that I can go into, but for a top-down level, I'm not going to get to cover that. And I'm going to go back to the takeaway 1, 2, no more than 3 points today, and start implementing 1 or 2 things, small changes. Less is more. Positive, powerful words. I'm just going to say these words: hate, hard, dislike, bored, angry, smelly, stupid, silly. These words have a weight. And these words limit our creativity. These words lead us down to the path of I cannot do. I want to pull the duvet over my head. Negative words equal inaction. Negative words on camera to your audience turn your audience off. They stop listening. They're already off, busy doing an email that's just come in. They're busy checking their phone to see if something's happened on their socials. They're busy with their head elsewhere because you haven't empowered them to listen to you. So empowering them with excitement, turning fear into energy, and being positive, and I'm so excited that, yes, it was a challenge, but I overcame that and I succeeded. And in that way, I learned, and I have changed this in my life. And this is how we energize and we create creativity. And it opens up the opportunity because you are warm and people want to work with you. If you are negative, your body comes down. You close your body, you become protective, you become in. If we open ourselves up, we empower, we infuse, and we energize, and people buy from people. Camera ready. Camera ready is not about how you look. It is not about how you sound. If I sat and listened, and this is really important, I don't watch my videos back. I listen to my videos, and I listen to them to check that the key messages are there, that the focus is what I want to do. If you don't like going on camera and you want to start embracing it for social media, start using a voiceover. Get your product, get it looking shiny, use a light box, make it look beautiful, and use your voice as a voiceover, making sure you've got your key messages. Alternatively, use a filter. There are so many filters that will give you perfect teeth or beautiful fluttery eyes. So you don't need to worry about what you look like. you do, or you should listen to what you're saying, because your key messages are what people hear. The other thing to think about when you're doing an interview or a webinar is a lot of people listen to it on catch up. They're busy typing away, doing their work and listening in the background. So they're not looking at what you're looking at. The other thing that camera ready is, it's a mindset. It's about I can, I will, I am going to. Camera ready is practice. And when we talk about practice, it is not using a script. It is about being so settled and secure in what you are going to say that you can deliver it. And I have colleagues and actually I have clients who've come to me who have spent a lot of money setting up to go to a studio and film that corporate video, and they've come to going on camera, and because they haven't got the key messages sorted, when the camera said action, light, rolling, sound, action, and off you go, they go, ugh. And it's because they haven't done the preparation. They're not prepared. They haven't sorted out and defined what their key messages are going to be, what their go-to-market video strategy is going to be. So it's all about public speaking on camera. It is about being in the know. There are techniques you can do. There are things you can do with your voice. There are ways that you can look, and there are things you can do to get your camera at eye level. But you must know what your story is, what your through thread is, what your preparation and your practice takes you to. Now, it doesn't matter if you record 50 times, 100 times, 300 times. You're only looking for the one take that has got your key messages and your story in it. Before you hit live or record, feel your rhythm, breathe, get into the zone. If you're sitting, get your feet on the ground in terra firma. If you're going to stand up, get centered. If you've done yoga, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. You need your weight over the arch of your feet. You need to unlock your knees. You need to breathe. You need to smile. You need to hear lights, camera, action, smile, click, record, or go live. Camera ready is a mindset. It is not about how we look. Be natural on camera. So many people are trying so hard, or reading so much information which is telling them to do this and talk to the camera and really talk and talk, but they're not being who they are. So please, the next time you come to shoot me reel, be you. So that was one of the many reels that I have on Instagram and also on YouTube. And this reel was taken on YouTube seen by over 2,000 people, which is unbelievable for me. But it's about being natural on camera, about being you. And there's a lot of buzz out there about being your authentic self. Now, when it comes to going on camera, you must define your boundaries. There are things in your life that you won't want to share. There are things that people don't need to know. If we look at celebrities like Katie Price or quite a few of the Instagrammers who are out there who are influencers, they share an awful lot, and actually they overshare. And we don't need everything. We need to see you. We need to see you moving. We need to see you being natural. We don't need you being rigid. We don't need you thinking that you've got to be someone that you're not. It is about being you. It is about being centered in you. But you also do need to make sure you have clearly defined your boundaries. If you haven't got your camera at eye level, then you need to find a way to make that happen. If you're using a laptop, put some books or a laptop stand underneath and get the screen at eye level. I use a gooseneck mount on a separate webcam, and my camera is around the side. My screen is here and my camera is there. So I'm actually talking to you with my screen, I get this in the shot, there. So I'm not actually reading off the screen, and I'm talking to you. And this allows me to have my camera at eye level. I've tried tripods on the desk. I have tried various different things, but a separate webcam with a gooseneck mount is the best solution. And always have a little light above the camera. So if you're not lit well, you will not be seen. I have in this room right now 3-point lighting, and just to show you the difference lighting can make, I will turn it off and you can see the difference. Now, I don't use ring lights. The reason I don't use a ring light is because ring lights are for perfection. Ring lights will show every single imperfection up. So I use what are known as LED softbox lights. They are very affordable on Amazon, £50 for 3, and you can have different filters. So currently behind me, my wall has a red light because my wall is too white. So I've uplit it from the back. So there are things you can do in your room. The other thing that you must never do is have a window behind you. If you do have a window, block off the light with some blinds. Patterns and stripes will buzz on camera. So if you've got an overly patterned, and I'll show you that actually, because it's much easier to show you why you don't wear stripes. Your eyes cannot take the subject matter in as well as wearing stripes, and stripes will buzz on camera. So less is more, right the way back to that point. Not having your camera at eye level, talking too fast. There's a simple thing. Back to the breathing, back to the heartbeat. So if you feel that you're speaking too fast, you can do a quick reset in any presentation. And this is where you do a quick snatch breath. You smile like the Cheshire Cat, you think less, and you start again. So you can off camera, hold your heartbeat, take that breath, smile like the Cheshire Cat, think less, and start again. And that is a quick camera reset. The space behind you, a lot of people use backdrops, and that's fine so long as you are using a green screen behind it. If you're not using green screen technology behind the backdrop that you are putting in through the camera software or the Zoom software, the camera will the image will pixelate and your face and your head will disappear, and that will overwhelm and distract for your viewer. So I always recommend clear your clutter, clear your space. If you look behind me, it's very, very simple. Less is more. I want you to focus on what I'm saying. I don't want you to be looking at the guitar or the plant that's sticking up through the top of my head. Waffling and going off key messages. If you have done the practice and you've done the preparation and you've actually written out a rough idea of what you're going to say, you can get rid of the justs and the buts. And one of the things that we do is we apologize for ourselves. Stop it now. You have absolutely nothing to apologize for. You are your own person. You are worthy. So stop apologizing. Your tech will go wrong. We accept that. We know that. So your tech goes wrong. You go, yeah, tech's gone wrong this morning. There's a building work going on. There's building work today. Sorry about it. In fact, you don't even have to say sorry. There's building work going on today. Thought I'd let you know about the noise. It's about not taking your power away from you. You have this space. Own it. Fill it. And don't apologize. Wasting time on introductions, and I'm guilty of this. I was doing the Wise Why, and I was doing good morning and welcome to the Wise Why, which is lovely if you're watching the webinar at that moment in time. If you're watching on catch up, you're not watching it in the morning. So don't waste your 3 seconds of scroll time by saying good morning, and when you can say hello if you want to. In fact, my last video, I said, what makes a good story? You do. So it's about coming straight in. Imagine that you are doing archery and you're putting that arrow right the way back and you let it go and it hits the target. That is what you're trying to do straight in on video. Because even if you're doing a corporate video and you're going to put it on your website, people are still scrolling. Video on a website is absolutely brilliant and it really makes a difference. But if you're wasting time saying da 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 and doing infill, you've already lost the person. We now live in an age where so many people don't read. It's all about the visuals. It's all about the audio. So come in strong, come in strong. So as I said, wasting time on introductions, no preparation or practice. So you've set up all your tech. That's brilliant. You've got everything running and you're really excited about how it's going to go. And then what do? Your tech fails because you haven't actually done that, or you come to doing your presentation, you spent so much time doing your tech that you haven't practiced your presentation. So last night I went through my slides, this morning I went through my slides, a week ago I went through my slides, and I make sure that the slides are, in fact I changed the colors this morning, but I'm making sure that it's up to date, it's relevant, and I do little tweaks to keep my mind in the set, in the goal, in the groove, so I know that I am actually doing and talking on point. Staying still, please, there are so many people out there that do this. I'm going to tell you about my product, and it's going to be really, really good. And I'm so excited about telling you about it that I forgot to use my voice, and I'm not doing anything, and I'm going to stay still, and I'm going to talk really, 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 really fast. And you've lost everything. If you're going to put a video out there, make sure you're sitting back. You're inviting your audience in. You're making them feel that you're having a cup of coffee, a conversation over a cup of coffee with a friend in a cafe. Okay, and the other thing that is really important is video is being too long. So I watched a video recently which was top tips. Top tips should be one subject in one video at a time. People will watch about a minute and they bounce. In fact, if I look at the actual proper speed, they'll watch for 3 seconds. If they watch for 3 seconds, they'll watch for 10 seconds. If they watch for 10 seconds, they either stop at that point or they will continue on to about 15 to 25. The most people watch on video is about 3 minutes. So that gives you an idea of just how much, unless it's a webinar somebody has been invited to. So there's lots of different things to think about when it comes to using video. It is short, it's powerful, it's packed full of information, but it's not spoken fast. So that is why we get rid of the negative words, we get rid of the waffle, and we come to delivering our key messages on point, succinctly, using less is more. And the reason less is more is so important. I don't know how many of you know about Billy Wilder and Jack Lemmon. So Billy Wilder was filming and the director of Some Like It Hot. Jack Lemmon, being a brilliant film actor, kept coming on set, and Billy kept saying, less Jack, less. And eventually Jack Lemmon got really annoyed because he's like, if I do anything less, I'll be doing absolutely nothing. And Billy Wilder said, well, that's exactly it. That's the point. And that is the point going on camera. I'm doing very little. I'm talking to you, I'm moving, I am using my voice, I'm using my body, but I'm not thinking about how I'm going to be. The only thing I'm thinking about is not bringing my hands up too much into shot. That is the only thing that I'm doing. I've practiced, I'm prepared, I've checked my tech. Always, always check. So, principles of success. Do follow your competitor. Really important to see what your competition is doing. Go there and look at what they're saying and see going, do I agree with that or do I not? One of the things that I realized and how I grew my brand was I disrupted the market because you had a lot of public speakers out there saying, this is how you do camera. And they'd got no concept of what going on camera was. So they were still shouting loudly down the camera to get their point across. And I will make you great on camera. And oh my goodness, I was like, no, seriously, no, guys, no. Strip it back. Less is more. So I went out to market saying, less is more. Be you, invite people in. Exactly as we would if we were on stage as an actor, and it's about an energy exchange. Now I can't see you, but I know that I can see that there's some comments. So I'm feeling your energy through the camera. I'm in my head imagining how you are listening to what I'm saying, and I'm reacting as I hope and feel you would. So that's what's my subtext in my head is doing. It's going, yep, I think that's made a point. I think that's landed. So I am making sure that I am imagining how you're feeling as I'm saying it. It sounds more complicated than it is. It's just me having an underlying thought of when I've practiced, this is what I'm going to say. How would I feel if I heard that? So I try to put myself in the audience position, and that's very important when it comes to going on camera. So tell a story, as I've already said, using your key messages. bring yes, that's right, bring your interview. So this is really important when it comes to going live, when you're in a situation. And I met a lady who had been or rather one of my clients had been she'd been trolled on social media. She'd gone to a very well-known morning program, and they'd asked her a question and she hadn't heard the question. And because she was nervous and she didn't know about breathing in the fear and saying to yourself, I'm going to face everything and rise. I'm going to breathe in the fear and I'm going to turn it into excitement. I'm going to be in my space. Because she hadn't come for coaching to me at that point, she didn't know that she could turn around and say, I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear that. Could you repeat the question? And because she didn't do that, because she didn't have the confidence to turn around or even say to the presenter, because the question was quite pointed, she could have said, that's a really interesting question. How would you answer that? And turn that question, which was pointed, which ended up ruining her life, back onto the presenter. She actually answered yes when she should have said no. And you have to have the confidence when you are doing a live interview to turn around and say, thank you very much. That's a very insightful question. It will allow your head and your brain a chance to process the question. If you're not liking the question, you can say, I need to think about that. Let me come back to you on that. Why don't you tell me how you would answer it? There always is a way to move the question and deflect it. Or if the question isn't on point, you would then, for instance, say, someone said to me, I have a daughter and I don't share her life story. And it can be personal, very, very personal. And someone can say to me, well, you know, and then they'll push. And I go, that's lovely. Now, my daughter the other day, as we're talking about my daughter, we went to the play park and I bounced away. I'm still on my subject. I'm still talking about my daughter. We went to the play park, and then I'm going to bring that question back to what my subject is. And down the play park, we were talking about confidence and how you go on camera to one of the mums because she's a headmistress. So what you do is you bring it back to your subject matter. You must be on point and you must be on brand. If your brand is like Steve Jobs, to wear a black polo neck, own it. Steve Jobs got away with that. I would normally say don't wear a polo neck because it would make you look like you're floating, but that was him on brand. Become the go-to voice within your community. Video empowers you to share, particularly if you are going to use social media. It empowers you to share your message. It builds the trust and the like and the confidence to come to you. And as I said, be you. I'm not talking about sharing everything. Set and define your boundaries, but be you. Be natural on camera. So tech choices. This is what really, really important. I am currently using a webcam that could go to 4K. The problem is no screen out there, and for you techies, will be able to run at 4K. So a 720p or is high definition ready, that's more than enough as a webcam. You can go for high definition, but if you go for 1080p, you will not be able to run at 60 frames per second. So my webcam is running at 720p and it's running at 60 frames per second because I use it for streaming. Just to give you an idea, 25 frames per second is what the human eye can see. So anything above that is going to be real time. I always recommend that you go wired if you're going to go through the PC. And then you have to decide what file format you are going to use. Now, if you're going to do a social media video, I would absolutely recommend a vlogging kit. It comes with a light, it comes with a microphone, and it will come with a tripod and you can move around. So if you want to know about vlogging kits, drop me a DM and I will help you. So vlogging kits are absolutely brilliant. Social media video works best on a simple mobile device. Really, really easy. I've already talked about the light above the camera. You can use software. There is software out there that's free. So I use Film Forth for editing and it's free. I use StreamYard for streaming. Again, if you want to know about that kind of thing, drop me a DM. I've already explained that why I prefer softbox lights because they are not perfect, whereas a ring light is. And I actually use the Blue Yeti microphone. Prior to using the Blue Yeti microphone with gain control, and I'll come on to that, I use the Jabra Echo system, which is a conference speaker system. So I've not ever got a headset on, and I'm not wired, because if you have a microphone here, when you move, it will rustle. The reason you want a microphone with gain is to drop off the background noise, keep the noise that comes from your desk. Gain is the microphones out there are very, very similar in price, but the gain is worth getting. So as I said, good audio, vlogging kits, and the software. So drop me a DM if you're looking for something, and I will do my best to answer it. So thank you. And I think that was pretty much on time, Andrea. How was that?
That was fantastic. I've been making notes furiously, and I've been on Amazon as well and made some purchases. So my husband's not going to be very happy with you, Kirsty.
I've got a list of the ones that I recommend, which I can send out to you.
I think people will find that really useful. I think if we go over to some questions, and some feedback as well. So, wow, that was fantastic, Kirsty. Thank you. Okay, let me just have a look here. So we open Q&A because we did have one. I think I did spot somebody saying, how do you get over not having a smiley face? Which made me smile in itself, actually.
So you practice. You go in the mirror and you practice smiling. Now, really, this is really key because I'm smiling. Let me show you something. If you just lift your cheeks, just literally lift your cheekbones. So if you are sad, but you lift your cheekbones, so you think about just lifting your eyes, lifting your cheekbones. You don't have to smile. It's quite complicated and difficult to practice. I have a lot of male clients that I do this with because they don't want a big smile, and it's about lifting this bit on your cheeks. And the reason for it is the light hits you better and you look engaged. So you don't have to have a big smiley face. I'm a natural smiler, but you don't have to have a big smiley face. You just have to lift the cheekbones because it makes you look engaged and it brings the light to hit your face exactly where it should.
That's perfect. Could you repeat the name of the video software, please?
Yes, it is Film Forth and it's free. I did a lot of research when I set up and it came up on the list of recommended. It is so simple. There's InShot if you want for Instagram. There's lots of different things that you can do, but I use Film Forth because it is quick, it is simple. You can go onto Canva and you can design your own end card and slip it in. So you can always have your logo and your branding at the end.
Wonderful, thank you. And Kira, lovely to hear from you. Kira says, I'm constantly listening and speaking to an audience. Many thanks for this session. It's been helpful and rewarding. So that's wonderful feedback. What's the best way to edit videos, Kirsty?
Again, it's something like Film Forth. So you can do it actually, to be fair, depending on what you're using. Apple has great software you can use. If you're editing in TikTok or Instagram, you can edit in there. But actually Film Forth, or there are other ones. What have I got on here? I've got OpenShot. No, I tried OpenShot. I ended up back to Film Forth because it is simple. There are app-based applications. I didn't bring my phone through, but there are lots of different things that you can do. But Film Forth is free. And so far, every person I've recommended it to has loved it. I've also tried OBS and Streamlabs, but I ended up just going to StreamYard because what's really cool if you're going to go live with StreamYard is it all down, you can download the audio and the visual and then reuse it as a podcast, which I had no intention of doing, genuinely. So I wasn't going to do a podcast. I now have a podcast out there. So The Wise Why is now on Spotify as well as on YouTube, and it's just because I bought StreamYard license.
Fantastic. Oh, that's a really good tip. Hazim's asking, how can we DM you? How can we get details about these basic tech tools and software? So Kirsty just put her...
So I'm on Instagram as Opening Doors Consultancy, but you can also find me as Public Speaking on Camera, because once I got my tagline, I actually bought the domain name. So on Insta, I think it's Public Speaking on Camera. YouTube's Public Speaking on Camera. I've also got a free download which covers some of the tech stuff that I've talked about today. That's on Linktree. Again, if you go to Insta or LinkedIn, you should be able to find that. And also on YouTube. And the other thing I've got is a prize draw, which you might like to enter. And the draw will be taking place on the 8th of March. And I give a 45-minute consultation for free to one person once a quarter. So you stay in the draw. I don't take you out of it. So if you don't win it this time, you've still got a chance for next time. And if you sign up to my mailing list, you'll get my free download. So feel free.
Oh, fantastic. So lots of different ways to get in touch. This is an interesting one. How to give a succinct introduction about yourself, which is not long, but still to the point. How short or long should it be? Any quick tips? And that's from Shri.
So I would go, your name's important. So if you were at a network, we were talking about this yesterday, a networking event, and you've got to be memorable. You've got to be succinct. So it is hello or hi, depending on how you want to do it. You can't just come in with a hello. And to be fair, this is the first session I work on is introduction, because if you get this wrong, then you've lost everything. So it is as simple of back to that rhythm. I'm going to keep coming back to that heartbeat, that rhythmic voice, and it is the breath. And then you can think lights, camera, action, and you go, hi, I'm Kirsty Ven, and I run openingdoorsconsultancy.co.uk, and we help you to public speak with confidence on camera. And it is that simple. You've got to have your key message, your call to action. I'm not asking anybody to come and contact me on that, because I work on the art of not selling. So I'm doing, this is what I do. I'm free, I'm warm, I'm inviting. I help you to speak with confidence on camera. And if I want to, I then go, drop me a DM. Simple as. Don't overcomplicate it. Less is more. I wrote a whole article about the power of why less is more. Stripping it back. Don't waffle. Be succinct. Use one of your key messages. Use your tagline. Whatever is your consistency within your brand, stick to it, and just hello. This is what I do. This is how I help you. DM me.
Yeah, perfect. Raymond mentioned something which which resonates with me when I first started doing webinars. It can be a comfort to have your notes in front of you, can't it? But there is a tendency to read verbatim. And Raymond's asking, a lot of lack of confidence seems to come from the fear of going off script. How do you manage to speak on camera whilst referring to cue cards and not look like you're reading or disengaged from your audience? And I think that's valid, because we see a lot of presenters fall into that trap.
So one of the things is how you have your camera set up. So I have my screen. I was saying to this to Andrea earlier, you're seeing my screen. Now I've practiced and practiced and practiced this. I can't tell you. I have run through this in my head. I've been delivering this for years, but I always practice. If you could see my desk, there is not one cue card in front of me, because as I've written the presentation, there are notes in the presentation, but I don't use them. What you can do if you have your camera set is you can use post-it notes if you want to. The problem is you're going to go off and look. You could use a teleprompter. Again, you're going to look like you're reading. The best way is to practice and know your slide deck. And one of the things I would say is less is more. If you go back through my slides, just to go show you, there are some points, which are my bullet points. There's not a huge amount of information. Less is more. And the reason for it, you want enough information on your slides that you can use them as a prompt and a way to go forward. You want them there. But if you put lots of information on your slides, you're going to try and read those and read your notes. So it is about knowing your subject. It is going back to practice, practice, practice. I can't tell you enough how much you need to practice. And when I talk about practice, I don't mean sit in front of a room saying your presentation. I mean in here. I mean when you're drinking that cup of coffee, thinking about a slide, thinking about how your storyline, and I do a whole exercise on storyline. And if you know your storyline, you know your timeline, you do not need your notes. And a good example of this is unfortunately Boris Johnson. He did not know his storyline. He did not have, he suddenly picked up a waft of notes, which he didn't have because he shouldn't need them. And he ended up going and talking about Peppa Pig. The point is, he hadn't done the prep, and the prep isn't about standing in a room talking to the mirror. The prep is about knowing each slide and your story. And there is a very clear exercise that I do, which is top down, bottom line, and then joining it all up with a figure of 8. So you draw a line on a piece of paper, positive, negative, or slide by slide, and then you join it up with a figure of 8 all the way through. And then you don't need any notes, because your notes, your presentation should have enough information in it to help you springboard along. Get rid of the notes. I know it sounds very, very, very uncomfortable, and strip your slides back. Less.
I agree. Kira's got a really interesting point here. So she's in the middle of preparing a graphic illustration video for the company website. Should she do audio only or appear on the video? And the reason she's asking is that she feels the illustrations will visually deliver the message and that she doesn't actually need to be on it. Do you have any tips around that?
So I would, there's a lot of videos. I'm about to do a voiceover for a company which is all image. And so I'm going to go and do their voiceover. And if you look at people like Philip Glass, his amazing work with, I'm going to try and say it, Kyana Squatsy, Para Squatsy, the whole series. I'm not very good at pronouncing them, but it's not always about being on camera. If the image is powerful, the voice will add the context. So I would go with a voiceover. You do, and this is what I was trying to say earlier, you don't have to be on camera. I was talking to somebody this week, and it was a security company, and I was saying to them, look, you know, what you need to do is put the context around the image, the context around the security camera, the context around the alarm box, and then you can do it with a voiceover, because so long as the image is contextual, then the voiceover is enough. But what I would say, if you're going to do a voiceover, use a good mic.
Brilliant, thank you. Hazim's asking, can you list some introduction phrases or techniques to start your videos?
Straight in, as I said last week, it's a question. What makes a good story? Are you confident on camera? So there would be who's, the what's. Stanislavski has 7 questions. Who? How did I get here? What do I want? Where do I need? These are the same 7 questions that you see in business, except Konstantin, and I got his name right, Stanislavski, wrote these in the 1800s. So type into Google Stanislavski's 7 questions. All of those work as an introduction to video. What did I overcome to get here today? All of his questions. I would absolutely, and I coach Stanislavski's technique, and I changed those 7 questions into other questions to deal with business pain. And I've got people out there who use these questions in a recruitment situation. So they've used the 7 questions to talk about a job advert. So Stanislavski's 7 questions.
That's really, I had no idea you were going to come out with that.
Stanislavski, so just to give you an idea, when I talk about movement, I'm talking, Meyerholt was, people think it was Brecht, but it's not. Meyerholt broke the 4th wall, and he broke the 4th wall by talking directly to the audience, which is what camera does. One of the things that really helps on camera is a thing called biomechanics. Now, biomechanics is Taylorism. People love or hate it, but if a sports person will have studied biomechanics, because it will take you the shortest route to get to throwing that ball, or that shortest route to hitting the bat in the best way. So biomechanics and thought, memory, recall are so important. And this is where I coach differently, because I am using acting techniques to underpin everything that I am talking about, and they work seamlessly in business, because most of the stuff you see in business came from the great philosophers who inspired the great theatre practitioners.
Wow, we're having a history lesson as well. It's fascinating to know everything that goes on behind it, though, the theory that's you know, underpinning what you do. We've got Sri saying, thanks, Kirsty. Rhythm and your own intro was an excellent example, which is brilliant. Haley's asking, if you start to stutter, how would you bring yourself back? She tends to panic and lose herself when this happens. And actually that ties into what Salim's saying, which is, how can I improve my hesitation before camera? And it's that breathing again and that rhythm, isn't it?
Breathing, rhythm, smile like the Cheshire Cat, think less, and start again.
Yeah,
this
simple, but it takes practice.
It does take practice. And I've gone to network. I was talking to you yesterday about the networking event, and one of the things I do is I get everybody to just feel this rhythm, because it's natural and we've all got it. To take that breath, and before you do your 1 minute pitch, you push your chair back, and as you stand up, so if ever I meet you at a networking event, you know what I'm going to do. You stand up, you push that chair out, and as you're standing up, you're taking that breath in, you smile like the Cheshire Cat, you think less, and you go, hi. This Cheshire Cat thing I came up with about a year ago, and someone said, why? And I went, well, we all know, Alice, and particularly in Oxfordshire, it's very important. And it's like, you do smile, and even if you're not smiling, if you're not a smiler, you can think a smile, or you can think sunshine. If you don't want to smile, it's about thinking something light, something airy, something warm, something safe. Think of your mother. It's that quick reset.
Yeah.
And it gives you that chance to restructure your brain. And also, everybody ums and everybody ahs, and it doesn't matter.
And this is a really interesting one. Alison, I'm going to raise yours. So Alison, we've had a one-to-one before, and you apologized for something that I hadn't even noticed. So Alison has a tremor, and she feels like she has to apologize for it on camera. What should she do? And I think I heard you say, don't apologize for being you.
No, don't apologize. As soon as you apologize, so I'm a dyslexic and dyspraxic. Before we came through, I got my husband just to double check my slides. There was a typo in it. He fixed it. Never ever apologize. If you apologize, particularly on camera, remember, all you're seeing on camera, unless you're actually going to be doing a video, you're only seeing this. So the tremor probably won't be seen. And the minute you apologize to it, the minute you bring attention to something, one, you take your power away. Two, that person who is listening to you is going, oh, and they're off thinking about that. They're not thinking about what you're saying. So you've distracted from your key message. And you don't need to apologize for who you are. You are an amazing human being, and you are brave, and you are strong, and you are doing it. And that is what should be celebrated, not taking away your own power, because you don't need to apologize. Nobody needs to apologize, because going on camera is not easy, but you are doing it. And that is where we celebrate.
I couldn't agree more with that, actually. I'm just conscious of time, Kirsty, and we have managed, we're getting lots of thank yous and awesomes coming through, which is lovely. I mean, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot from you just throughout our network and support sessions, but I've picked up, even more today. So thank you from me, and thank you on behalf of our clients as well. It's really informative. I'm gonna, it's been recorded today, so we'll be uploading that onto YouTube this afternoon, and we'll send out the link via Eventbrite, so you can all go over Kirsty's tips. And I think it's practice, isn't it? It's practice and becoming more comfortable, but you've given us the foundations to work with, which is fantastic.
It's about your mindset, and this is, I'll leave it on this. It's about your mindset and knowing that you can and you will. And that is what it's about. Being brave and stepping up and going on camera and doing it. And anyone who's not done it, you just have to remember Joy Foster's phrase of, up until now, I haven't done it, or I haven't done it yet, because you can and you will.
That's a wonderful way to finish. Kirsty, thank you so much for your time today. And thank you everyone from eScalate for joining in and for your questions. They've been fantastic. So have a good rest of your day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.